Well, if the Snyder Cut proves something, is that we would never have a good cinematic cut of Justice League movie. Before you press dislike, let me tell you, I really liked the Snyder Cut. It was a damn fine movie, probably one of the best movies in the DCEU. However, there is no way I can see Justice League can be cut in a movie that is under 3 hours. I mean, okay, let's remove the epilogue. Maybe trim some of the parts that are hooks for the next installments of the Snyderverse. There's no way this movie gets under 200 minutes, so it's 3 hours and 20 minutes long. It's way too long for a cinematic cut. It's too long for a movie. It's too long for a movie on its own, and to be honest, one can say that yes, we can trim some of the slow motion, some of the music videos here and there, and we can get a movie under 3 hours. Yes, you can, but you're not getting as good a movie as the Snyder Cut is, because in a way, what makes this version of the Justice League work is those parts, the slow motion and the video clips of songs throughout the movie. And let me tell you what the Snyder Cut did exceptionally well, and I really liked the ambience and the resonance of this movie. I mean, every scene in this movie is filmed like it's important. Like every scene, it's very, very important. And you know what? It actually is. Every scene in this movie is there for a reason. It sets up the plot, it offers some character building, and damn if we don't need character building in this movie. The way the entire franchise was built. Or, it pays off something set up earlier. And the way the entire movie is paced, the plot is paced, like an unfolding mystery, makes this story, which, yeah, basically it's very basic. It's evil guy seeks MacGuffin because daddy issues for other bad guy, and heroes do everything to find out what's happening and stop bad guy. The end. However, the characters here, and my main beef with DCU, Man of Steel, and Batman vs Superman, is how the characters are dissimilar to the comic books. And I think that Whedon's Justice League did an effort to make these characters more familiar to those of us who still read the comics. But here we don't get that. We actually have the original interpretation of these characters, and each and every one of them has a clear arc and a moment to shine. And you know what? It was funny memeing on Zack Snyder for Batman vs Superman and Martha. But you know what? I came to realize that the one to blame here is David Goyer, the story writer of Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, because his scripts tend to be messy, overcomplicated. And you know what? If you attach a director who understands story structure in the project, like in Christopher Nolan in The Dark Knight, you can get a good movie. But if you don't, and most of the time it's not a great director in David Goyer scripts, they end up a mess. I mean, I have watched all 3 Blade movies for retrospective, and David Goyer is doing the scripts in all 3 of the movies. He directed Blade Trinity, and one thing that I consistently saw as a problem was how all over the place the scripts were. Yes, you can see that the guy who wrote Batman vs Superman did those movies too. It's obvious, and I mean, he's got some real stinkers. I mean, have you seen Crow, City of Angels? Or hell, even Dark Knight Rises was not a great movie because of the script. What I've loved about the characters about this movie was the sense of scale. Each and every one of the characters feels like a god. And this is something the cinematic version, the Whedon cut, failed to do. I mean, we have this slow motion and sped up fight scenes that make everybody look a badass. We have every one of the characters using their own unique abilities to do heroic stuff throughout the movie. I mean, the way Diana crashes the terrorist attack in the beginning of the movie, She feels awesome, and she really feels like she's on par with Superman throughout the movie. And this actually makes Steppenwolf such a worthy opponent in this version, because the heroes really have a tough time fighting Steppenwolf. This makes everybody look better. It seems like there is tension and there is heroism in trying to stop him. And he's a real obstacle, and he has a personality here. And all her entire dark side inclusion does make this movie feel more, the skills go up, especially towards the ending that was very, very weak in the cinematic version. I mean, hell, even the Flash looks not annoying in this version. So yeah, in my book, if you can make this Flash look not annoying, you're definitely worth an Oscar nomination or 3. What I did not like about this movie, I went through some of the stuff that I didn't like about the entire franchise, but if I can sum everything up with one word, it's overindulgence. And Zack Snyder is, at least to me, the equivalent of Rob Liefeld of the superhero movies. I mean, he's got an impressive visual style, and yeah, everybody has seen the Rob Liefeld drawings, but let's be honest, the dude looked rad. And when he was actually drawing, he had a unique style, a personality, and you could say, oh yes, it's flawed, but it looks cool. And that was his main appeal. Both Snyder and Rob Liefeld have this grimdark aesthetic in their work, and also their storytelling is very basic and maybe lacking too. I mean, give them a decent writer and they can do a great movie or comic book. Zack Snyder also looks more interested, seems to be more interested in the coolness of his works, as well as big picture stuff, the possibilities opened in each and every of his work, the inclusion of themes, maybe too many themes, and his main appeal to me of this DC universe was the could have beens. What these movies could have been instead what they were. And the Snyder Cut was a meme because of this, because it was the idea that there was more to the DCEU than what we saw in the movies. It turns out it was, but the entire DCEU suffered from Zack Snyder's unique set of skills. Yes, he's a great director in action films. I love 300, but in the end, he was probably not the right pick for a superhero franchise. Let's be frank, there is no need for a 4-hour-long Justice League movie. Right? There is no need for this. This movie should have been 2.5 hours. But that's a very long story, and we all know that in this movie, Zack Snyder had to set up too many characters at once, which is no easy feat, and this cat actually manages that. That's why it's 3.5 hours long plus the epilogue, which Keats doesn't. Let's be honest, the epilogue is there to fill in a plot hole, I guess, for the Justice League 2 won't see. And yeah, if I can describe this version of Justice League, it feels like a celebration of everything that killed superhero comics in the 90s. The movie feels like a very padded crossover event from comic books that try to kick off way too many new ongoing series out of a couple of movies, basically Man of Steel and Wonder Woman, that did not have that hot of a reception. Let's remember that, okay, Man of Steel was controversial, Batman vs Superman was banned, and there is, of course, Suicide Squad, which makes Batman vs Superman look like an Oscar-nominated movie. And then, of course, there's Wonder Woman, which was good for a DCEU film. Yes, I'm not a big DCEU fan. I'm more of an MCU fan. Surprise, surprise. But you know what? I want to see good superhero movies. The DCEU didn't have that many of them until we get to the Justice League. Of course, And you know what? I know that you Snyder fans still watching this video, and thank you for that, for not leaving an angry comment and disliking and clicking somewhere else. You'll say that yes, we should blame the studio for that, for meddling, and yeah, we should, because let's be honest about something. Anybody who had the 3 working cells could have foreseen that Man of Steel was not the movie to set up DC Avengers on. Yes, it was a good movie. I watched it and I was like, yeah, this is the Rob Liefeld version of Superman. Make it a Supreme movie, it's awesome. Batman vs Superman, let's be honest. Make this movie an Apollo Midnighter movie and have the 2 main characters kiss and make up in the end of the movie because of their sexual tension throughout the movie, and you got a perfect Midnighter and Apollo movie. You know, they're characters from The Authority. They were Nell's characters. They are the gay Batman and Superman. And yeah, that would fit in an Image. These movies could have fit in the Image universe of characters like Supreme and Youngblood or Authority. And you know what? Zack Snyder should probably do that. Imagine Zack Snyder doing a Youngblood movie. That would have been awesome. But the Superman movie, he's not the guy for that. Let's face it. I mean, okay, if you really have to go and make a cinematic universe out of Man of Steel, you tie it to the Dark Knight universe. And instead of having the Batman vs Superman we have seen, we have Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight returns from retirement after seeing Destruction Metropolis. And yeah, it would have been a better movie because this Batman is established and he has a modus operandi, and you don't have to establish Batfleck, which there's nothing wrong with Batfleck, of course, but yeah, it's too many things. And Man of Steel could have been a very interesting trilogy of movies about Superman becoming the hero we know in a grim and grey world. And if you had a positive Man of Steel 3, Superman finding acceptance and embracing his heroism, then it's a great trilogy of movies, and I could probably see that Zack Snyder was interested in that. And if I was peeved about something done better in the Whedon cut, it was saving the family in the third act. That was the most Superman thing I've seen, and yeah, that's something that the Snyder version failed to do, in my opinion. And I want to have that. I want to have a goody two-shoes Superman at some point, because that's the core character, the hope, and being goody two-shoes and a dark and gritty Superman was not something I expected to see. It would have been done great, of course, but no, it's not what I think. And what is exceptionally bad with DCEU Show was that they were trying to change everything midway, and it destabilized the Rocky Foundation even further. I mean, yeah, the theatrical version of Justice League tried to force a lot of humor and made the characters look like cartoons, because when you have lots of life characters and lots of humor, you get cartoons, not demigods, the way we saw in this version of the movie. And yes, some humor can work for Marvel, because Marvel has more every-person heroes. The DC characters are iconic, and having them appear as God amongst us is the way to go for DC all the way through. And if you want my opinion, James Wan and Jeff Johns were a better team for setting up a DCU. I mean, you have Aquaman and Shazam, and they were both fun movies. They introduced the characters, they set them up, and now they're ready to go in the crossover movie, and nobody will lack any connection to them. And also, they could use some smaller budget movies here and there to flesh out and expand the universe. There was no reason in hell Suicide Squad was a huge budget movie. $30 million action movie about them would have been a success. But the behemoth we saw, oh no, it was crap. And, you know, then again somebody will say Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 1984, which I enjoy a lot, but it was just me, were not that well received. So yes, I can see why you'll see, yes, we kind of like the Snyder version better and etc. Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, the whole DCEU, the DCEU extended universe, this face, this face I just did. So, yeah, the Snyder Cut definitely proves that if the executives were not meddling, we may have gotten a good cinematic universe. Eventually. I mean, if we had a Man of Steel 2, Batman vs Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Justice League 2, in this order of movies, yeah, it could work. Maybe even add the Suicide Squad here and somewhere in there, you know, to get some extra bucks. But they went so fast. They went too fast and too hard on the crossover aspect, and in a way that they didn't understand what the MCU did. And also what The Conjuring did, because yes, you have James Wan, who made the cinematic universe, and a successful one, at least financially, and yeah, sometimes even critically successful. But yeah, I think that yes, Birds of Prey was the top example of why the Conjuring verse is not working. So yeah, when you force a director who has a plan to smoosh way too many movies together, you create this Frankenstein of a cinematic universe, and that's never good. And in some way you can blame Zack Snyder for not scrapping a lot of his ideas and trying to come up with another plan for this behemoth he had created. So yeah, I know that Restore the Snyderverse is trending right now, and yeah, after seeing this movie I can see why people still believe that there is a future in the DCEU. But in my mind, I think that the Snyder Cut is a great opportunity to put the entire DCEU out of its misery with a high point. This very successful, critically and commercially Snyder Cut that everybody's talking about and seems to enjoy it, and everybody should learn from what was done wrong with these movies, with Zack Snyder's vision of the DC universe, and how they can not replicate them in the future. Or, you know, they just can do what they're doing, keep the healthy parts like Wonder Woman and Aquaman, and bury the failures under the carpet, maybe get a Man of Steel 2 at some point, just to see if it can work or not. I don't know. Everything is different right now about movie production, so I cannot say. But nevertheless, that was my rambly thoughts on the Snyder Cut, and yeah, I'm not sure about what else to say. I mean, I enjoyed this movie more than I enjoyed any of the other Snyderverse movies, except for Wonder Woman, I guess. I still prefer the post Justice League movies that came out, like Aquaman and Wonder Woman 1984. I'm guilty about it. I'm the wrong person to criticize Zack Snyder. I like this movie, so I can get why so many people like the Snyder movies. And yes, we can be different, and we can talk about it. That's the fun of it, because we can like different things and talk about them and enjoy them, and this can unite us more than everything that sets us apart and divides us, really. Loving these characters, I want to have good superhero movies, and if some of them aren't good or to our liking, whatever. There are so many superhero shows out there, there's no way you can follow that. And if you like this video, press the like button. You can subscribe for more geeky stuff. I'm not doing too many movies right now, but whatever. I think there's a plethora of movie content on YouTube, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.